Welcome to Denver Elementary's GEI System informational video. I'm Kristen Curtis, the Elementary Instructional Coach, and I'm thrilled to walk you through our successful problem-solving process, our GEI system. GEI stands for General Education Intervention. It is a team of educators such as the elementary special education teachers, Title I teachers, instructional coach, our area education agency consultant, and our building principal.
GEI is part of our MTSS, which is Multi-Tiered System of Supports. It is a systematic, collaborative process in which all school resources are seamlessly integrated and singularly focused on the same outcome, to ensure that every student learns at high levels. Here at Denver Elementary, we have a three-tiered, layered support framework. Tier 1 is the first tier. It is called our universal tier, and it is where the core instruction occurs. The general education teacher is providing differentiated instruction linked to the Common Core, which may include accommodations and modifications for all students to be successful. About 80 to 85% of our students will be successful at this level. General education teachers will use data collected from district assessments, such as FastBridge, DRA2, IO assessments, and curriculum benchmarks to help guide instruction and may collaborate with their PLCs and instructional coach for best instructional practices. At Denver Elementary, we are evidence-informed and learner-driven. When the data provides evidence that skills are not being acquired with the current core instruction, the general education teacher may do one of two things. 1. Sign up for a GEI meeting to collaborate with the GEI team on a specific Tier 2 intervention for those kiddos that are not demonstrating mastery. Or 2. For those teachers that are comfortable beginning an intervention themselves, they may begin a Tier 2 intervention to gather more student evidence. Generally, this applies to teachers that have an evidence or research-based intervention that they've used on other students or in the past. We believe in working proactively, and just as the research has shown that early intervention is key. A Tier 2 intervention provides supplemental support based on the data. This is typically done in a small group or with an individual and is based on a specific targeted goal. Tier 2 instruction is given by the general education teacher in addition to the core instruction. At minimum, the intervention should take place 3 times a week for 15 to 20 minutes each meeting. And progress monitoring should take place after every 5 to 7 instructional sessions. The purpose of progress monitoring is to remain evidence-informed by looking at the progress monitoring data and asking, what does the student's growth look like when given the supports they are receiving? If after 4 to 6 weeks progress monitoring data proves intervention is successful, the intervention may be stopped. If not, this is a good time to meet with the GEI team. The general education teacher will sign up for a date and time on the GEI sign-up spreadsheet located in the teacher folder within Google Drive. The team asks that the general education teacher fills out a Tier 2 student profile form, also located in the GEI folder, and link that in the GEI sign-up spreadsheet the Friday before the GEI meeting. This allows the GEI team to access the information and come to the GEI meeting prepared to ask questions and collaborate on next steps. What to expect at a GEI meeting? The GEI team and general education teacher will meet in the elementary library or principal's office. We will begin by asking the general education teacher about the student's strengths and any other background information that is helpful in making educational decisions. Next, we'll ask the general education teacher to summarize the needs of the student and any interventions that may have already taken place while looking at student evidence, like the assessments and progress monitoring data you've included in the student profile sheet. Questions followed by a discussion of what is the next best step will take place. The goal is always to give the student what they need and is a case-by-case basis. The student evidence may show another Tier 2 intervention is needed, or it could show there is a need to move to Tier 3. Regardless if you are working on a Tier 2 or 3 intervention, a member of the GEI team will check in with the general education teacher as the intervention takes place. This is to help guide the intervention. Progress monitoring data will reveal to conclude the intervention early, change the direction of the intervention, or change to a Tier 3 intervention. We always want student evidence to guide our instruction and be as efficient as possible. At the conclusion of a GEI meeting, the actions moving forward will be summarized, and a GEI meeting will be scheduled 4 to 6 weeks out to gather as a team and collaborate on progress. The general education teacher should never feel as if they are in this alone. The GEI team is always accessible through email, phone calls, or face-to-face. A Tier 3 or intensive intervention is typically suggested by the GEI team and is evidence-based and/or research-based, delivered by the classroom teacher in addition to the core instruction. It is usually done on an individual basis. The change from Tier 2 to 3 is generally a change in setting, format, or delivery of instruction. Again, progress monitoring data is accumulated after every 5th to 7th day of intervention instruction for 4 to 6 weeks. Throughout the process monitoring, we are asking, are skills being acquired using the current strategy? There are several things the GEI team will take into consideration when making decisions as to how to move forward. These are just a few. How many interventions has this student had in this particular subject area? Was the intervention evidence or research-based? Was the intervention delivered with fidelity? What about the student's attendance? Was the student at school and able to receive the intervention? Is the student below benchmark and below expected rate of growth? Let's take a look at that last one in more detail. Is the student below benchmark and below expected rate of growth? Here's an example. In this chart, the student is below benchmark and is not making the expected growth of 4 DRA2 levels from fall to winter. If Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions have been in place, this may be where we look to suspected disability and move towards an AEA evaluation. In July of 2018, the Individuals with Disabilities Act revised and clarified existing information. An item that pertains to general education teachers was the removal of discrepancy from expected performance. When looking at possibly evaluating a student for specially designed instruction, the AEA's focus is on the child's performance over time, the progress made, and the level of performance in relation to the standards, the Iowa Core. In the past, we've looked at how discrepant a child has been from his peers. That has been removed and does not apply any longer. The goal of GEI meetings is to collaborate and devise an action plan to set up students for success across grade levels. Just as we differentiate our instruction in our classrooms, the GEI team will differentiate the meetings. Each student brought to GEI is on a case-by-case basis. We are in the business of giving kids what they need. Some kids need several Tier 2 interventions to be successful. Others may need several Tier 2 and several Tier 3 interventions to be successful. We call this the revolving door of instruction or interventions. There are kiddos that will always need that extra support. This isn't meant to put more work on the general education teacher. This is meant to give all students what they need. Special education is for students with learning disabilities. It's not meant as extra help and support. All students are general education students first. Please reach out to anyone on the GEI team with questions or concerns. We may not have the answer right then and there, but we'll work hard to find them and do what's best for kids.